This is the November meeting of the Mira Mesa Community Planning Group. Welcome all of you back who were in the Community Plan Update meeting just a few minutes ago. We've got a pretty good crowd already. 32 people here. Let's start. We'll start with non-agenda public comments. Non-agenda public comments are for any items that are not on the agenda, but within the purview of the planning group that anyone wants to bring up. Are there any non-agenda public comments tonight? All right, hearing none, we will go on to modifications to the agenda. I do have one, the Redistricting Commission I had as the second item of new business. They wanted to be sure that they didn't interfere with the other presentations in case they go long. So they requested to go last. So we'll move them to right after the elected officials. Those are the only changes to the agenda that I have. Okay, we'll go on to report of the chair. I've got a few things to report. We do still have a business vacancy that we need to fill. If you know someone who would be good to do that, please let me know or have them contact me and we can see if they're a good fit for the planning group. Mail, got a substantial conformance review for BJ's Restaurant. That's on the agenda tonight. Also plans for a project at Carroll Canyon 805. That's on the agenda, and I also forwarded it to the planning group members. And a process 2 extension of time for a conditional use permit for a cannabis production facility at 7720 Kennemore. That's all I have. So we will go on to old business. Alex.
Good evening, everyone. Alex Frost, Senior Planner with the Planning Department. Earlier today, we presented on the results of the mobility modeling. So the 2 scenarios, the recommended land use and one alternative and adopted. So the current plan build out, we ran it through the Sandags model and we presented a high level results today. It was mostly showing the impact of improving jobs housing balance and really working towards the 15-minute neighborhood, improving walking and biking in Mira Mesa and transit accessibility and speed and frequency. So that were some of the results and the improvements from the Carroll Canyon Road, having that new east-west connector, helping with some of the traffic flows in the Mira Mesa Boulevard. We will have a more detailed, hundreds of pages of mobility technical report coming out next year. But if you have any input or suggestion, please let me know. Thank you.
Alec, I would like to make one comment that is really to reiterate what Jeff said earlier, and that is that even incomplete reports that are not, even reports that are not polished, but indicate what kinds of algorithms are used, what the scope of consideration has been, I think is absolutely necessary for us to make intelligent comments about this community plan update, because that community plan update will go for the next 10 to 30 years. And thus you have some of the omissions that have been identified a number of times. And I realize the burden of work is tremendous. Will come back to haunt the community, and it will haunt it in a way in which the update will lose credibility, which it should not lose, because it's been a tremendous amount of work. and offers insights to a number of aspects of development.
Yeah, I will ask the mobility team if they can, share even a rougher draft when it's ready, and I'll re-emphasize what Jeff and you have suggested on that. More information earlier.
Thank you, Alex. Okay, you probably should have done this before, but let's take roll. I'm almost sure we have a quorum, but Tiffany, can you take the roll?
Sure, no problem. And I wasn't sure, so I actually just looked at the participant list. So I think I've got almost everybody but Kent Lee.
Let's see.
I thought I saw Kent's name on the list.
Sorry, I'm here. My little one's having a
Sorry, it
meltdown.
sounds like you've got your hands full.
I will be here and available.
Thank you. Andrew,
I'm here.
Lilith,
Here.
Ian,
Here.
Craig, Jackson,
Here.
Ralph,
Here.
John,
Here.
Joe,
Here.
Barry.
Here.
I saw you, Jeff. Dorothy.
Here.
Jeff, do you want me to remove Rose Wong from the list at this time?
Yes, you can remove her.
Okay. Craig Radke,
Here.
Julia,
Here.
Hari. I thought I saw him on the call.
You mean Harkey?
Sorry,
Yes.
did I say that
Here.
wrong? Sorry, I'm on a single screen tonight. So, oh, sorry. Yes, Harkey. Okay.
Here.
Marvin Miles, did not see his name on the list.
Marvin's probably distracted a little bit with what happened before.
Okay. Justin, I think I saw Justin as
Here.
well.
Here.
And Mike Linton.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Did I miss any? I think I got everybody on the list.
Good. Hopefully Marv will show up and we'll have a complete planning group here.
That's right. We're just Short, Rose, and Marvin. Mhm.
All right, thank you. All right, so we'll go on to new business. We got an introduction to this proposed community plan amendment last month. This is the project at 805 and Carroll Canyon Road. They are asking for an action item on initiation of their community plan amendment tonight. So I will, Chase, I will ask you to go ahead and proceed.
Jeff, I'm sorry. This is Tiffany again. Before you get started, did you want to approve the meeting minutes?
Yes, thank you. Let's approve
sorry.
the meeting minutes. Were there any corrections anyone had to the minutes? All right, hearing none, those are approved as written.
Good evening, everyone. This is Chase McConnell, On Point Development. Work with Todd Dwyer here and Ted Shaw on behalf of On Point Development to propose a community plan amendment initiation. This is just for the initiation to propose on the southeast corner of the 805 and Carroll Canyon Road, a new life science and office development. With that said, I will turn it over to Ted Shaw for our presentation here. Ted, if you don't mind.
Great, happy to. Chase, can Chase share his screen and run the presentation for us?
Yes, Ken.
Sure.
Great, appreciate it. So as Chase mentioned, we were here last month, and in addition to Todd Dwyer and Chase McConnell, we have Mike Gerber, also with On Point, and Craig Benedetto with California Strategies. So as mentioned, we are here for a community plan initiation. The first slide has a couple images on it for you. So for context, the red star in the upper left-hand image is the location. Putting it in context, you have 805 on the left and Mira Mesa really moving east from there. So we're in the southwest corner of the community. If you move to the lower image on the slide, give you better context, you can see the 805. The property is a east-west oriented parcel. It runs from the 805 over to Nancy Ridge Road and is sandwiched between Carroll Canyon Road and the train tracks. And as a point of reference, it's across the street from the fire station at the foot of south end, I should say, of Scranton Road. As Chase mentioned, it's community plan initiation. So the purpose of our meeting tonight is to obtain feedback, not just for us, but for Alex Frost as he's working on a staff report. We are going to the Planning Commission next month for their action to hopefully approve the initiation. And as I'm sure you know, the initiation really only opens the door for us to make an application and then start spending real money and spending a lot of time preparing reports. And those types of reports will include a biological assessment, a transportation assessment, geology, hydrology, drainage, and a host of other reports, including greenhouse gas and climate action plan. So we would like your input tonight. We would also appreciate a vote of support to the Planning Commission so that we can start that process. So some basic facts about the property. It is currently designated open space and zoned agricultural. It has a flowage easement that has been on the property since the subdivision was created that resulted in the industrial buildings off north of Carroll Canyon Road. The property also is partially within the MHPA, or the MSCP as some people know it. And that is an issue that we're going to have to address as we move forward through this process. Our request is to designate a portion of the property for industrial with the intent of life science R&D use on that portion. The remaining portion would be remain designated open space, would remain with an agricultural zone, actually probably move to an open space zone. And there would be a boundary line adjustment for the MSCP. We would be looking to develop on the least sensitive portion of the property. How that is defined is part of that biological assessment that needs to occur. With the eventual completion of the project, the open space would be conveyed to the city as per open space in perpetuity. It would be revegetated. Non-native materials would be removed, trash would be removed, fencing and that type of thing would be installed as negotiated with the city and the state and federal resource agencies. There would be an endowment put aside so that that area is maintained in perpetuity. Unlike other areas inside the MSCP where that's not occurring, they're just hoping to find money to do things as they move along. So the request at this time is to receive your feedback, hopefully a vote of support, and then we will move forward to the Planning Commission. We expect this to be a lengthy process in preparing the reports and coming forward. So a couple of images. This is a conceptual site plan. It is not based upon any biological assessment. It's really a walk of the site with a biologist many months ago. You can see it's a 4-building complex. We are proposing to bridge over the drainage and the vegetation that's there. We're not expecting to build an at-grade crossing. Why don't you go to the next one? The next series are images to give you a sense of what we're looking at. We do not have a final design yet. Again, this is just the initiation process. So we're looking at 4 buildings, embankment to protect the garage, which would be underneath in the brown. You go to the next one, Chase. Lots of outside amenity space. Again, There you go. Then one more image. There you go. So the last thing that I would add as a reminder is we are inside the Miramar land use plan and we are in APZ2. So there is a strict limitation on the number of people per acre. We expect to fully comply with that requirement as part of any future entitlement process. With that, I'd love to have some input and answer any questions.
I have input.
Great.
Okay. In the Chase McConnell letter of November the 12th, which was sent out to the planning group, in the paragraph third from the end, it says, there is a flowage easement on the property that prevents development unless the flowage of the creek accomplishes essentially the same thing with a zone change. So what's not to understand about a easement that prevents development? And secondly, in the attachment to today's email that was sent out to the planning group, it says under policies, no encroachment shall be permitted into wetlands. So to me, this project is terrible. I can't see how you can, have any development.
Because I responded, so what she's referring to is the email I sent out today, in which I went through the community plan and looked at the requirements for this area. It is not just designated open space, but it's a riparian area, which is in Carroll Canyon. The community plan is actually quite specific about having no development in this area. And I actually asked you to respond to that. Are you asking us to change these policies or to give you a specific exception for this area, or is there some reason that you think you comply with it?
Really, it's a refinement of those policies as it relates specifically to this property. The mapping that was done as part of the existing community plan is several decades old now. As a matter of fact, the mapping that was done as part of the MSCP 20 years ago is also out of date. And so what we would be doing with the city's review, as well as the state and the federal wildlife agency's review, is doing a brand new biological report, identifying those areas that are least sensitive and proposing to put our development in that area. The parcel is not wetlands in its entirety. Even the map that you attached to the document you sent out, Mr. Chair, shows areas that are not wetlands. And many of those areas some of the areas that are non-wetlands were disturbed as part of work by the railroad as well as Caltrans in their work towards the west end of the property. So we don't have all the answers. We don't begin to know all the answers at this point. We're asking for the opportunity to demonstrate that we can or cannot achieve the goals of the community plan as we do our analysis.
So the community plan says that.
Comment?
Well, just a minute, let me finish this.
Sure.
The community plan says all riparian areas should be preserved in their natural state with a buffer of adjoining upland having a minimum width of 100 feet. The buffer shall start at the outer edge of the defined riparian habitat or at the outer edge of the 100-year FEMA floodplain, whichever is wider or outermost. Is there any way you can be consistent with that with this project?
Mr. Chair, I don't know the answer to that question at this point. We haven't done the type of analysis that needs to be done. A full drainage analysis, hydrology analysis needs to be done. Biology mapping needs to be done, and concurrence has to be achieved with the agencies and the city in order to move forward with a development project at some point in the future. So I understand what you're asking. I appreciate what you're asking, but I don't have all the answers yet because we don't have all the work done.
Okay, I see several hands up, so I'm going to go through these one at a time. Craig Radke.
Yeah, I mean, I think we, like Dorothy mentioned and Jeff, you mentioned, I mean, that's obviously a very important drainage area. There's a lot of important stuff upstream from that. And I'm concerned that should have been like a priority before you draw up all these fancy images of a building is, is it even possible to do this and maintain the drainage? And if it is somehow approved, who's going to be responsible for maintaining that drainage area there? Because it's obviously going to be more restricted. And, if it gets clogged up or something, whose responsibility is it going to be? Is it going to be on the taxpayers, or is it going to be on the property owner that's right next to it? That seems top priority. Plus also, I think if you do somehow get approval to proceed with this, you might want to include some extra benefits, like, maybe maintaining the trash that tends to build up along Carroll Canyon Road in Scranton right there. A lot of, it's the downstream from a lot of streets there, and it tends to collect up on that sidewalk there. So that might be a positive thing, that you could, somehow the property owner of this would maintain the cleanliness of the debris that tends to build up on Carroll Canyon Road. Thank you.
If you'd like, Mr. Chair, I'm happy to
Go
respond.
ahead and respond. Then other people who have questions, please press your, go to the reactions button and do the raise hand, and then I'll call you on you in order. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Those are good points, Craig, if I can call you Craig. The responsibility for the drainage will fall to the property owner to take care of that. The ability to expand the responsibility and do trash, not just within the drainage, but along the street and the slopes, absolutely. That's something we're certainly open to.
And Ted, I might just mention something too regarding the floodway or floodplain type of comment. Being a civil engineer, I've designed many floodway designs in the past, and so looking at this from a high level, I believe there's a path forward to be able to do very detailed analysis that had to be done. The HEC-RAS analysis, which studies the entire corridor, the entire drainage shed. So, but it's a very lengthy and costly process to go through all that. And so, what we're here for tonight is to ask for, the board's permission to go forward and spend literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. We don't want to do that without having this initiation being approved. That's why we're here tonight. But there's a lot of work to do there, and through that we would have to demonstrate, and it had to be approved by Army Corps, FEMA, city, all the different agencies, to show that it's being designed in a proper way to meet all current standards.
Okay, Julia.
I feel like there is no need in our community to encroach even further into the natural habitat. There's plenty of room in Sorrento Valley neighborhood of Mira Mesa community to build up where it has already been disturbed. And I just don't feel like we're so built out that we need to make this encroachment into natural habitat.
Thanks, Julia. Do you have any response?
I will tell you that most of the property is already developed, and redeveloping those properties is quite expensive, but I appreciate what Julia has said. I understand that.
Joe.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. If this is not approved tonight, do you have a plan B? And I'm asking that because when we do plan initiations and they go to the city is looking at it as a free-for-all for increasing their tax base. So I'm leery of doing some of these, but I just want to know if this goes down tonight, do you have plan B?
Well, I'm sure Alex has already been working on his report, and he'll have a series of issues that he'll want to have us look at should it go forward past the Planning Commission. But my expectation is that we would go forward to the Planning Commission and ask for action on the initiation. And it might be, unfortunately, that you aren't supportive as a group, but we would love to have your support to allow us to move forward. But so let me explain from a process standpoint. Planning Commission is the decision maker on the initiation. Should someone not like that, whether it's the applicant or a neighbor, that decision can be appealed to the city council, and that decision is final.
Okay, Dorothy.
Okay, you're proposing an underground parking structure. If the creek floods, your underground parking structure will be flooded.
Well, it's not really underground, but I don't have that detail worked out. I apologize. I haven't got to that point yet.
You'd be creating berming and or creating the walls in which the lowest possible sill be well above any type of flood stage level there, Dorothy.
Pardon me?
So we would be designing the garage that would not take into account a level that allows the flood water to ever enter
Oh, I see.
into a garage. So you either create the berming up. I think the core standards, you have to have at least 1 foot above. In the past, I've used designed it to be 2 feet above the flood level. We might go 3 or 4 feet above just to be totally super safe. So that would be studied very carefully.
Yeah.
We don't want to have a parking garage filled with flood water, certainly not. So we'd be looking at that very closely.
Okay.
And by the way, too, I might just mention to everyone regarding the open space, this portion of the site, we're only disturbing, like, I think it's like just over 20% of the overall site. So there's 80% that is being left completely untouched. And that part of that 80%, a lot of those areas are not very quality. So we'd be coming in and actually improving those areas, making them quality. And then on top of that, creating an endowment that allows for the maintenance of that area to be maintained well into into perpetuity. None of that is occurring right now. There's a lot of areas out there that are not very quality type of habitat or wetland. In fact, of our disturbed area, which is only like a little over 7 acres, a good portion of that is areas that it's not considered habitat at all. So, I hear what you're saying about open space, let's preserve that. But if you look at the totality of what we're doing relative to what's out there right now, it's probably not quite what you think. And there again, we're here tonight to ask for your support. So let's go through and prepare all those studies and see what that comes back with, right? And that's where we really go to work. It's okay. We have this here, we have that there. This is what we can do to improve this area. To at the end of the day, what I call do proper development that ends up being a win-win for the community and the habitat, and for a project to be successful at the same time.
Can you explain a little bit about the geometry here? I'm a little puzzled looking at these pictures and having been out there. I mean, looking at the site, it looks like you have the railroad tracks going on behind you, and then it drops immediately down into the canyon. So are your buildings sitting on the canyon floor, or are they, where exactly are they? I mean, it looks like they're in the canyon.
Well, you have the slope for the railroad track itself. It slopes down, but then it doesn't slope all the way down to, I guess, what you might be referring to as the canyon. It kind of does you have the initial embankment for the railway itself, but then you have a fairly decent slope from there, down to basically the bed and bank of the creek itself, which is up by Carroll Canyon Road there. So it's a decent ways away. And so that's what ends up putting our parking garage mostly underground in that particular area. So that we're not going to be doing any real grading, really beyond the limits of the envelope of the parking garage itself.
If you're not doing any grading, then you're actually putting it on the canyon bottom?
We'll be excavating into the soil to build the parking structure. And then that'll be a podium that will then hold up that the buildings would sit on top of at the end of the day.
Okay. Are there, I don't really see any other hands up other than the ones that were from before. Are there any other questions? If not, can I get a motion on this one?
I can't find the raise hand function. Can I just put in my 2 cents worth?
It's on the reaction button, but go ahead.
Okay. Longtime residents of Mira Mesa are very leery of something like this, and we appreciate your interest in doing something, but I would prefer that you don't spend the time and the money to take it any further than this initial idea. You've heard some comments tonight. I was trying to think if there's anything else I need to know. There are examples of what has happened elsewhere in the community in the past when we saw development that looked like it was going to have a green belt and it was concrete in taking away. This is an area that is near the golf course and then the freeway on the other side. And it's an important area that, as others have said, provides some natural open space in the community. And I think it's just too much for that spot. It's something where it would be vastly better for, I personally, as a longtime resident, appreciate your interest, but would direct you to look at elsewhere. And I'll leave it for the planning group to decide.
Hand up from Christian Treesize. You'll need to unmute. There you go.
Yeah, thank you, folks. Just to give you a little background, I'm the current owner of this property and have a little bit of history I'd like to share with you about it. That at this point might be helpful and beneficial. Some of the concerns I've heard expressed certainly are appreciated. But looking at the history of this particular parcel, going way back 100 years now, it was actually in the site that the area of the site that is shown to be developed was actually a mining pit for building bricks. They were mining the clay out of that area. This was back in the days of, I don't know if anybody's a long time San Diego residents, but Hazard Construction used to quarry a lot of clay and then obviously make bricks out of it. So that area has been disturbed for years and years. It is not native in any way, shape, or form. It is not natural at all. So it's basically what you have upstream in the quarries from, I believe it's Fenton or Nelson and Sloan, that is now being redeveloped into housing and commercial properties. This is a similar site as to what that was at one point in time. And in regards to the vegetation out there, while there's no study that's been done to quantify it, I do have aerial photographs going back to the 1920s that actually shows this to be a very barren site. And if you stop and think about it, the circumstances that occurred out there is this is at the very low end of Carroll Canyon Creek. And what's transpired over the years is obviously Mira Mesa itself has been developed. With that development, particularly in the residential areas, you have lawns and ornamental plants that were planted, and then of course they require the irrigation. Irrigation runoff takes all of the nutrients that people use in the form of fertilizers, as well as the seedlings from the non-native species. They flow down Carroll Canyon Creek, ultimately winding up here. So the vast majority of the vegetation that you see on the site is not native. In fact, it's a majority of invasives. You have pampas grass, you have Russian thistle, you have all kinds of things that are considered to be nuisance type vegetation and should be removed, quite frankly. And then lastly, as far as the flowage easement goes, if you actually look at the wording of the flowage easement itself, it anticipates that development will occur on this site at one point in the future, because they talk about extinguishing the flowage easement and a rezoning. And as long as you can maintain the flowage of the water across the property, which of course the HEC-RAS studies would address, you would be accomplishing the same exact thing. So the wording of the flowage easement itself would be important to understand. It's anticipated that this will occur. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that background knowledge of the site that I've had over the years, and hopefully that might help you as far as answering some of the questions that you might have.
Okay, so I got one more question from Tommy Howe, and then I'd like to see if we can get a motion on this. Go ahead, Tommy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it, and obviously I appreciate the work that the applicant's done bringing the materials here tonight. But I must say I agree with some of the other comments made by Dorothy and some of the other individuals here this evening. This is clearly a drainage area. This is clearly a riparian area, and it's already hemmed in by a great deal of concrete freeways, and it's also lower than the other elevations that are surrounding it. This is not an appropriate place to be building something, certainly at this scale or really of any scale. When you add into the fact that it's also MSCP sensitive and relates to MSCP lands, which have some understanding, unfortunately, at City Hall as to how those operate. This is, I would simply say this is probably an inappropriate place for this proposal. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, planning group members, we do need to take some action on this. They have asked for support of initiation of a community plan amendment. This does have a lot of issues. It is highly inconsistent with the community plan. So, we would be talking about either granting an exception or removing language about protecting this area. It's a lovely looking development, but obviously the question is whether this is the right place for it or not. So would someone like to make a motion on this? Julia?
I'd like to make a motion to deny the support for this proposal.
I have a motion to deny support. Is there a second to that?
Yeah, Jeff, I will second.
John LeBlanc is a second. Is there any further discussion on the motion? In that case, go ahead and Tiffany, can you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Kent Lee, Kent, if you're still on mute, Kent, I'll come back to you. Andrew,
I support the motion.
okay. Lilith,
I guess I'll support the motion.
so just to clarify, we're supporting the motion to deny. Is that what we're doing, Jeff? I just want to make sure.
Can
Yeah.
I abstain?
You can. You're supposed to provide a reason if you do that, but yes, you can abstain.
Okay, then I'll say I agree with the motion then.
Okay. Ian,
I support the motion to deny.
Craig, Jackson,
I abstain, and the reason is that I have had some conversations with the parties involved, providing them with some advice, nothing novel, but I believe it appropriately. Abstention is my position.
Can I change my motion? This is Lil again.
okay.
Sorry. Okay, I want to do the exact same things because I'm sorry, I'm still learning. I also had some discussions with these guys and I want to abstain because I don't see a reason why they can't go forward just to do the analysis. So that's my reason for abstention. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Ralph,
I oppose the motion.
you oppose the motion or you agree with the motion to deny?
I
Sorry,
oppose
when
the
I'm-
motion.
Okay. John, you were part of the original. Joe,
Yes. I oppose.
You oppose the motion, Joe?
Yes, I oppose the motion.
I'm just trying to make sure. Sorry, Jeff, just because it's a little confusing.
That is confusing.
Because the motion is to deny, right? So, okay. So, Barry,
I support the motion.
okay. Jeff,
I support.
okay. Dorothy,
Support the motion to deny.
okay. Craig,
Support the motion.
okay. And Julia, I think you made our motion. Parky,
Support the motion.
okay. Did Marvin ever join us?
No.
Okay. Justin,
Oppose.
oppose the motion. Okay. I also oppose the motion. And Mike Linton. Mike, I thought I saw you on there. And Kent Lee, did you ever rejoin us?
Yeah,
thanks
I'm
for
here.
waiting.
This is
Okay.
Mike. I'm having a hard time unmuting, but yeah, I'm going to abstain because I've got property upstream that I represent.
Okay. And then Kent, I'm sorry, did I hear you join back in, Kent?
Yeah, I'll oppose.
You oppose, okay.
Can't you
All right.
oppose the motion or as opposed to the project?
Oppose the motion.
Okay, then what's the count? Looks like pretty close.
All
now.
right, yes, let me look here. We've got 3 abstaining. We have 5 opposing, and we have 9 that agree with the motion to deny.
Okay, so the motion passes. We do not recommend that this plan amendment be initiated. To the developers, I can understand you're disappointed in that. I presume you will go on to the Planning Commission. They obviously will make their own judgment on this. If they decide to approve you anyway, then we will see you back here again after at the next stage.
Thank you.
If I may ask, is there a way that between then on December 2nd, we can help educate and talk about the project in a way that could better keep everyone in the loop, because there is a lot of information. It's a very, very complex project with a lot of stakeholders. What could be a protocol to help educate and get the conversation going in a productive way? That is our goal.
If you have more information that you would like to distribute to the planning group, send it to me and I will forward it out.
Okay, thank you very much.
Jeff, can I add to that really quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. I mean, part of my move on the motion was also because I felt like there was not very much information brought to the table that could answer a significant number of the questions. And I think if they certainly have any further information that might help clarify in the future, I'd welcome it. But I will state that I do not think that answered very many questions this evening.
I mean, I should have done this before, but maybe I should ask Alex Frost if he has any comments on this one. Alex?
Hi, everyone. Yes, the city of San Diego is also conducting a high-level analysis of all the different policies and constraints of the site. So we will be presenting that to the Planning Commission. And that report will be available. Let's see, the Planning Commission date is on December 2nd. So it's usually available a week before, I believe, but I can send you the link once it's available to you, Jeff.
Yes, thank you. And I'll forward that out to everyone else. All right, thank you all for your input on that. We'll go on to Chun Chan. Are you here to talk about the Gold Coast and Parkdale reconstruction?
Yes, thank you, Jeff. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us, and thank you, Jeff, for putting us on the agenda on a short notice. We are here to present the Street Reconstruction Group 1801 with City of San Diego. My name is Chun Chan. I'm going to be the project manager for this project. Joining me tonight, I do have my colleague, Hosai Sursai, as well as the senior engineer for this project, Mastane Ashraf Zadeh. We have a little brief presentation that we have prepared. Let me just go ahead and share my screen. Please let me know when it does get through.
I do not see it yet.
new to Zoom, so may check.
There it is.
Perfect. So this is our project, the Street Reconstruction Group 1801. This project is a pavement reconstruction project that is along both Gold Coast Drive and Parkdale Avenue. On Gold Coast Drive is spanning along Camino Ruiz to Thanksgiving Lane, which is 1 block before Black Mountain Road. On Parkdale Avenue, we are spanning from Mira Mesa, going down to North Road Drive. The whole project is about 1.6 miles. The project objective is mainly to repair the current existing street pavement, as well as base material using the full depth reclamation method. Along the way, we'll be also installing concrete bus pad. We do have some proposed drainage improvements, such as drainage or storm drains, storm drain inlets. We are also installing accessible improvements, mainly curb ramps along the way. And also we are installing green infrastructure such as Filterra units. So this project is currently anticipated to be advertised sometime around the winter of 2021. And most likely the construction will begin sometime in summer of 2022. Construction duration is approximately 1 year. Total project cost is around 12.7 million. Right now it is fully funded. So the construction phases are currently separated into 2 main phases. The first phase being the wet utility work that will be going to be constructing, as well as the storm drain, water high lines, the ADA upgrades, some sidewalk repairs, and the green infrastructure that is going to be the Filterra units. Along the way, we'll also be doing prepping the water high line for the next phase, which is the full depth reclamation. We'll also be installing bus stop pads, cross gutter, the paving, and the striping afterwards. Just want to give a brief introduction to the FDR method. Full depth reclamation. It is used to increase the strength of existing material below the AC pavement using cement. So what we're going to do is basically pulverizing and mixing the existing asphalt or the base and some of the subgrade with cement to create a brand new base for the new pavement. So we have included a short video. This is a similar project that was done in in Chula Vista. Let me see if I can get the video. So this is a similar project that was performed in Chula Vista. This is kind of the condition that they have as the existing condition. We can see kind of a bumpy road, a lot of pavement issue, a lot of allocated cracks. So this is the first phase where they are pulverizing the existing pavement. You can see the indentation into the pavement, which is getting crushed up. So once we have done that, the next step will be grading the material into the correct elevation that we specified. The next step will be mixing in the cement. So here's the cement mixer that is coming around. And then once they have mixed it all up using this machine and kind of doing some minor adjustment on the grading, that's where we're gonna add water and start the curing process. And then this is the rolling, or what we call the micro cracking, to get the final preparation for the base to cure up. And then here you can see we're doing the final compaction, or using the roller. It is a moist curing process, so you might be expecting some water trucks going around to make sure the concrete doesn't moist too quickly and start cracking. So after the moistening, the curing process is done, that's where we're going to come in and do the paving. So that's kind of the process of the food theft reclamation. So along this Gold Coast Drive, we have scheduled out the construction into multiple phases along the way. The main goal or idea is to make sure that our impacts to the residents will be kept at the minimal. We are looking at water highlining for residents along the way to make sure that their water surface will not be disturbed. So we are kind of breaking the different phases so that parking will be within reach of around 150 feet or so. So in this picture here, we can kind of see an example of how we're breaking up the Gold Coast Drive. Different color represent different phasing. As shown in alternating phasing, the greens do not necessarily have to go with each other. Here, the next page is an example of the same phasing method applied to the Parkdale. And basically, here's a look of a more detailed phase. This is kind of the first phase starting from the west side of Gold Coast Drive. We'll be installing curb ramps, storm drain inlets, all the concrete work and wet utility work up as the first phase. And then the second phase is where the FDR phasing that we have seen a video of. The anticipated schedule is about 7 to 8 working days, give or take. We do kind of anticipate majority of the work to be completed within 6 working days per phase, but also we have to take into account of the weekends and the actual curing of the cement based on the weather. So that days are just our estimate. So basically the first 2 days will be the grading and pulverizing. Residents are expected or anticipated to be able to drive on the pulverized material at night. So traffic will be allowed back on at night. However, parking will be restricted to being on the driveways and not on the pulverized material, because the cars might sink into the pulverized material for a long period. So that will take approximately 2 days. And then the next 2 days will be the cement application and the curing process. Again, that takes about 2 days or so until it is fully cured. And then the paving might be done in 1 to 2 days. When we're talking about working days, we don't necessarily will be taking the full day. It might be just how long the process might take, maybe during the morning, and then the rest of the day, it might be a curing process, that kind of stuff. So it's not a full working day, but it's taken into account in this phasing schedule here. So that's kind of an example of how long we anticipate to be impacting the residents at that moment during the FDR phasing is around 6 to 8 days. So this is kind of the anticipated condition when we're doing the FDR. Right here, you're seeing is in the curing state of the road. Basically, we'll be doing some traffic control, making sure that only local access will be allowed. There will be weight, vehicle weight restrictions, as well as parking restrictions. But all the driveways will be allowed access, and we anticipate to be providing the temporary transition to all the driveways as shown in the detail here. So this is kind of the information that I want to provide. If there is any interested property owner, here's my contact information. You can contact me to discuss your particular property if you have any question. So with that, kind of want to open up for any questions.
So thank you. That was a good presentation. Can you send me your presentation?
Sure.
I'd like to put that out on a website where more people can see it, because there have been a lot of just say a lot of interest in this project. There's probably going to be a lot more interest when you start tearing streets up, but everyone is thrilled to have it, but obviously it's going to be a bit of a nuisance for a bit too. So Joe, you had a question?
Yes. How long ago was the Chula Vista Street done, and what is the current condition of that?
Chula Vista are actually quite an expert in these kind of projects. They are doing it everywhere. The example that you saw was on First Avenue. It was performed around 2015 or so. And right now the condition is still very well.
Pam.
Mute. Okay, am I muted now? I saw that it was a construction start estimate of summer 2022 and a construction complete estimate of summer 2023. The two areas are geographically separate. Are they both going to be started in summer of 2022 and it takes a whole year for each of them? They're different crews working on each stretch, or is it going to be started on either Gold Coast or on Parkdale, and then afterwards go there to the other one?
Thank you. That's a good question. What we anticipate, this is just our current estimate. We will have better information on where they're going to start once we do have a contractor on board. Where they're going to start, are they going to start at the same place as kind of a contractor's means and methods? But we do anticipate the whole project, both locations, to be completed within 1 year.
Okay, but that doesn't answer my question about the strategy for doing it. Is it something that is going to be actively built on one side or the other first, so that people in one of those areas could anticipate time before and then it'll happen later? Or is it all going to be starting and just moving across one or the other? I'm not quite sure how long to anticipate each takes.
Chun, this is Masana. I can chime into that if you like.
Sure.
Can you put that overall map, the one that you had? So what when we are advertising construction contracts, like for this one specifically, because we wanted to really limit the impact to the property owners and try to have a control over how we want to sequence the project, that's why we were trying to come up with a phasing and sequencing that we want to see the contractor follow. But for those of you that are familiar with construction contracts, we can't really dictate the means and method too much of a contractor, because we give them a restricted duration of construction, which for this project is going to be about 1 year. And we're going to provide all the requirements and limitations that we're putting on the contract, making sure all property owners have, adjacent parkings available, side street parkings available. We don't want them to start a huge block of construction and then impact the whole neighborhood. So that's why we are trying to sequence it out. So if everything goes per what we are thinking, it's the best sequencing. When they start on that first day of the project, is our phase A, which is all the curb ramps, storm drains, and everything beside the FDR, the whole road pavement. And after they're done with all of that, which we anticipate that would be around 3-4 months maybe, then they'll get into the actual resurfacing, the FDR process. And they are required to do it in sequence. So what's going to happen is, as we get the contractor on board, if they are deviating from the plan that we're showing here, the sequencing that we're telling them to follow, we will make sure to come back to the community and share that information and make sure everyone is okay with, their strategy, or how they want to get the sequencing done. So we can come back with exact information as soon as the contractor is on board and present again and share with you. And usually the property owners, they will get the door hangers, the construction notices ahead of time. We will make sure to notify the community in advance of exactly how the project is going to go and which locations are going to get impacted first. So all that extra detail we will definitely, share with you as we get closer. Right now, it's what we want to see and what we're anticipating putting in the contract. And then once the contractor is on board, we're going to work in more all the details with them and then share with the community. I don't know if that answered your question or not.
Oh, I hate to belabor the point, but it didn't really answer my question. I'm talking about the basic strategy. So if you are on Gold Coast near Camino Ruiz, and if somebody else is on Parkdale, are those two things going to be proceeding at the same time with different road crews, or the same crew going back and forth? Or is it one area that will be done first?
It's per what we are putting in the sequencing is one block, one segment at the time as we're calling it out. So if you go to your sequencing map, I think the slide 9, I think it's the one. So the way we are advertising this project is going to start from the Thanksgiving Lane, from the west of the Gold Coast. We want one, that first purple. It's a little hard to see. It says phase B1. So we want the contractor to do that portion.
Thank you. That answers my question.
Yeah, completely. They'll move, they go along this sequencing because we didn't want them to be all over the place. So that's what we're actually we want to put that in the contract and make it a requirement for them. And that's why we are here. We wanted to see if this is kind of what the committee is also, thinking would be the best strategy, because we want to make sure we are doing, the least impact.
Yeah, that answers half my question. That
Also,
answers
just to
my question for the Gold Coast stretch. What about the Parkdale stretch?
Parkdale continues, so it's the same. It's not
So
going to
it
happen.
starts out with B11 and it starts from the north and then it goes on down to the south. Okay.
Yeah. So it's about 14, 15 phases. I don't
it's
remember.
about, yes.
Yeah.
And there isn't anything in front of Jonas Salk Elementary School. Is that because that's already okay, or what?
Yes, that portion has already been completed prior.
Okay. I think that is right. Okay.
And also, just to chime into what Masane has pointed out, we do anticipate to have a community liaison on this project to be working with outreach for the community here. So they will be working on all the communication and as the point of contact. And we also anticipate to have some city website to be set up so that, and an email blast to be set up so that people can get an update on which block will be getting impacted when the construction phasing starts. So
Okay,
they'll get a heads
I've
up.
got a couple other hands. I do just want to make one comment before I call on them though. This northern section of Parkdale here, you have B11 and B12. That is really, really terrible. If you could manage to advance that, that would be, I mean, if you're not going to get to that till the end of Gold Coast being all done, that's going to be awfully late. The southern section here that you have B13 to B15 is actually not that bad. That can go last. But this upper section,
Yeah, that's true.
I'd really like to see that get done earlier. Okay, Tawny.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to you with the city for making this presentation tonight. This is excellent information. It's good to know, and I truly appreciate it, and I know my neighbors are going to appreciate this too. I was pleased to hear you mentioned green infrastructure as part of the proposal, but I was curious, is when you say green infrastructure, I guess I just wanted to see exactly what you meant by that. I was curious if you were going to put in those kind of green infrastructure drainages that you did, that the city did on I don't know if you know where this is, on Manitou and Claremont a couple of years ago. And it was sort of a pilot program. And I just wanted to see if that was the kind of green infrastructure that was being considered. Thank you.
I'm not particularly familiar with the project that you mentioned, but what we do anticipate to be using is what we call as a green Viterra units. Basically, it's a concrete box with half of it as drainage. It's like a media that lets water go through. So it will be connected to our storm drain system. It will run through the media, the filtration media, and the water will get cleaned up in that portion and then exit through the other side of the box. So that's kind of like a filtration unit that is installed into our storm drain system.
Okay, good. So it looks like from this picture, it's going to be concreted on the top. It's not going to be like
it's going to be half and half.
drainage.
It's going to be half and half. So half of it, we're going to use it as part of the sidewalk, and then the other half will be landscape area.
I see. Thank you. I appreciate
it. Sheldon.
Yeah, hi. I'm with Councilman Chris Cates' office. You are, is that right? You are in the, what phase are you in now?
We are at the end of the design phase. We're just wrapping up some loose end until we're ready for the advertising. We're right now coordinating with the utility to.
The advertising phase begins December?
We are hoping for that, but we're working with the utilities to find out when they're going to be ready.
And how many months do you have the advertisement for?
Most likely, we're going to anticipate about 1 to 2 months of advertisement open.
Okay. So, and then in other words, 2022, it seems
Summer.
like you should, summer, June, August, summer. I mean, it seems like you should be
We'll be underground.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. I just want to know if what phase you're in, et cetera. Thank you.
Sure, and I want to add to that. We were planning to advertise end of this month, but as Chun mentioned, our coordination with some of the utility agencies is taking a little longer. They have to do some relocation and they need to get their permits and redesigns completed. So for that reason, for right now, we are a month delayed in advertising. If they do everything that they're supposed to do, we're hoping to advertise by end of December. But if we get updates from them and they're still not ready, we can't really advertise without, having a confirmation from utility agencies that they are ready to relocate. And then as soon as we advertise within 6 months, usually 6 months is our advertise and bid and award period that takes, from the day you advertise till you have the contractor on board. So we can continue to give an update on to the community as soon as the project is actually advertised. Because right now we hope it's December, but unfortunately because of the utility agencies coordination, if it gets pushed out to January, we can make sure to provide update to the chair or, send an email to all the interested stakeholders.
Please send updates to the council member, Chris Gates' office, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That's a very good presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go on to BJ's. Nina Raey.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, I have Joan Legay, also from BJ's, that's joined us for the meeting today. And Joan's going to share some renderings that Jeff, I had sent over to you. And then we can go over the project scope and all. So Joan.
Yes, hi, good evening, everybody. And I'm Joan Legay. I'm the Director of Property Development with BJ's Restaurants. Can everybody hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Can you?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so let me share the screen here and show you what our project is. All right, can you see this site plan?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let me just introduce, I think I'm hoping most of you know BJ's Restaurants because we are, a California company. We're based up here in Huntington Beach, California, and we have other restaurants in the San Diego area. We have Hazard Center, we're in La Jolla, Escondido, La Mesa, and Chula Vista. And we haven't built a restaurant for some time in San Diego, so we're excited about this opportunity. And what this opportunity is the closed Mimi's, which is at the corner of Mira Mesa Boulevard and Westview Parkway in the Mira Mesa Market Center, is the opportunity that we have. So what we're proposing is that we will demo the Mimi's restaurant and build a BJ's restaurant essentially in the same area where the footprint is. And the changes to the parking lot and access are quite minimal. So we are going through what's called a substantial conformance review through the city of San Diego. And as long as we demonstrate that we meet the criteria for a substantial conformance review, then this should be an administrative approval. So we have submitted to the city. We got our first round comments and they had asked us to come to this community planning group and ask for a recommendation from the group. So let me just walk you through this first slide here. In red, this is the footprint of the Mimi's, the existing Mimi's restaurant, which is closed. And this is Mimi's patio area. It actually goes all along Mira Mesa. And let me just show you because this isn't marked here. This is Mira Mesa on this side, and on this side is Westview. And if you're familiar with the shopping center, this side of Westview has the Home Depot, which is down at this end down to the right. CVS is in the direction south on the page. Across the intersection is the On the Border restaurant. The closest building to us is actually the Rubio's. It's inline and it's at the other side of the entrance off of Mira Mesa. So again, the Mimi's footprint is in red and the proposed BJ's footprint is in blue. So what this is demonstrating is that BJ's would be demoing the Mimi's, building our restaurant in the same pad. There are no changes to the amount of the parking stall configuration. There's
Hello?
Yes. Okay, I'll continue on. There's a slight reconfiguration of the service yard area here, but no net loss in parking. The parking stall count will remain the same. Circulation remains the same. The access into the center remains the same. There's very minimal disruption to the site. There's no change in traffic generation. There's no environmental impact. There's minimal change to landscaping. There's one tree here that needs to be relocated. And then let me show you a little bit bigger picture of the shopping center. So this might help you a little bit more kind of visualizing where this is. Here again is the Mimi's at the corner. This is Mira Mesa Boulevard. There's a stoplight here. This is Westview. Here's the Home Depot down here. CVS is here. This has been, I think this has been reconfigured somehow over the years, because actually this is where Rubio's is and Dave's Hot Chicken. So this is the original site plan. This must have been modified at some point. The city specifically asked us to pull the original site plans, which is what you're looking at, and do our overlay on the original exhibits that were approved when this was approved as part of a planned community development. And I wanted to also show you some colored renderings of the building that we would be proposing. So this is BJ's newest prototype building. We haven't built this yet in California. So we're really excited to be able to build this restaurant close to our home office, so we can actually have a lot of people from our home office come down and see it. It's really a beautiful building. It's for San Diego, it would be stucco with some black large windows, which allow a lot of natural light on 3 sides of the restaurant, tall windows, lots of natural light pouring into the restaurant. The black window frames would mimic what's out there with the Rubio's, for example, and the Dave's Hot Chicken. So black window frames, same with some of the other black trim here. The stucco is a very light color, similar to the paint of the other restaurants and other buildings that are within the shopping center. Having said that, we still do maintain some of our identity. This is a faux wood, weather-resistant wood composite that we're using on our restaurants now. BJ's likes to evolve their restaurant over time so that we're always remaining architecturally relevant and making sure that we don't have a tired-looking building. So we're very excited about this new look to the restaurant. I also can share with you an actual photograph, because I think sometimes that's helpful. Can you see this photograph?
No, we're not seeing the photograph.
Okay. Hoping I can share this. So are you still seeing the site plan or the rendering here?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I don't think you need to show much more.
Okay.
We have a long meeting.
Sure.
I don't see any issues with this, and
Okay.
all the comments I've gotten from the public have been positive. So
okay.
if anyone wants to ask questions about this, I'll allow it, but otherwise I'd rather just get a motion on this.
Sure.
I'll make
Jill?
a motion. This is Lil
Uh-huh.
to approve.
Okay, we have a motion from Lil to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
A second from Joe. So Joe and Ian, you each have your hands up. Did you want to say something, Joe?
I just want to know how many beers they have on tap.
We have plenty. Many award-winning microbrews that are BJ's, and of course, we have a lot of other brews, and we love to highlight local brewers too. So you'll be well taken care of.
Ian?
And somewhat related, I was wondering, will this restaurant be doing any brewing on site, or is it going to be strictly strictly
brewing on
restaurant?
site. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Tiffany, go ahead and call the roll on this one. Oh, wait a
Yeah,
minute. Sheldon, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I'm sorry. When did you say the anticipated completion date is?
We are hoping that we can get this restaurant open next year. I mean, that is absolutely our goal. I mean, it's just as quick as we can get through the city of San Diego. We're trying to parallel process everything we can to try to get this restaurant open next year. That's certainly our goal. If we can just get permitted through the city of San Diego.
Thank you.
Maybe
You're
Sheldon can
welcome.
help you with that.
Pardon me?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If, we can be any help to you, during the process, please give Chris Cates' office a call. He's the councilman in that district. I will go ahead and in the chat room, put on my email address.
That would be great.
Kent, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I was gonna say, through some of the work that I've been doing with the San Diego Asian Film Festival, we've actually had the opportunity to work with BJs, especially in the Hazard Center. And so I'd just be curious as things progress, if we could ensure to keep some close community contact with the team, so that there could be a chance to ask BJs to support local community initiatives as well. So,
of course. Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Tiffany, call the roll on the question.
Yeah, and Jeff, can you please clarify who actually who seconded the motion? Was it John?
It was Joe.
Joe. Okay, thank you. I did not see that. Okay, ready to take the roll. Kent, Lee.
Approve.
Okay. Andrew.
Approve.
Okay, Lilith, we got Ian.
Approve.
Craig Jackson.
Approve.
Ralph.
Approve.
John.
Approve.
And Joe, I got. Mary.
Approve.
Jeff.
Approve.
Dorothy.
Dorothy?
I
You're
think
muted.
Dorothy's there. Yeah.
Approve.
Thank you. Craig Radke.
Approve.
Julia.
Approve.
Harkey.
Approve.
I approve. I think Marvin was here. Justin.
Approve.
Actually,
Mike?
Marv is here now.
Oh, Marv is here. Okay.
Yeah, approve. And by the way, Joan, I was the chair of that subcommittee. So if you need any, memory, I'll be glad to help along with other people. Many of us were on that committee.
What committee are you referring to?
What we transferred that was a disturbed vernal pools into that whole center. So Home Depot, it was a Long's drugstore, and obviously, so it was a 4.5 year project to convert that from basically it was going to be a hospital, and so that's what we converted it. That's why we have the local side and the business side.
This is the committee that worked on the Market Center project, the entire project there when they.
Many of us were. It took 4.5 years to convert it from it was going to be a hospital, so that's why we converted it that way. So
okay, and Marvin, I'm sorry, are you on the Mira Mesa Community Planning Group? Or are you with the city?
No, Mira Mesa Community Planning Group.
Okay, and could you provide your email as well?
Sure.
Thanks. And then I have a question. Is Sheldon Zeman, is that the councilman for the district, or is that somebody that's on the committee?
That's the councilman. He's the representative of the city councilman.
Great. And who was the gentleman that posted that, Sheldon's name?
I did.
It was Kent Lee, I think.
Who was it? I'm sorry.
Joan, I posted Zeman S at san diego.gov. That's the state office.
I'm sorry, who was speaking who just said they posted that?
Sheldon.
Sheldon.
Yeah, I'm confused, but maybe you got it, Nina.
Yeah, it's Sheldon Zeman. That's the one that's posted his email.
I know, my question was, is Sheldon Zeman the councilman, or is that who posted this address?
He's the rep for the council.
Okay.
He represents the councilman.
Thank you.
Okay, Tiffany, you may continue.
Okay, sorry, yes. Our very last one, Mike Linton.
Approve.
Great. Obviously we have everyone's approval on this one.
So
Full
is that
quorum.
18?
Yes, let's see, let me just make sure. It is 17 total.
17.
Mhm.
Jeff, why did we have to vote on this since it's already a restaurant? How is that different than other restaurants that have been torn down and rebuilt, like the Burger King over by Comuna Santa Fe?
That's a good question. I guess they're doing a process 2, a substantial conformance review. They usually ask them to come and at least present to the planning group when they do that.
Okay. Has anyone heard anything about that Burger King over by Aldi that's been just plywood and 2x4s for like a year now?
I have not.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, you have your approval. We will look forward to going and having some beers there. So.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
And an official beer tasting when you open.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay. I think I'll do the, it's kind of a long meeting, but we've had a lot to do here. We still have the representatives reports and one more presentation on the redistricting commission. Maybe I'll ask the elected officials, representatives to go ahead, and then we'll do the redistricting commission after that. So we'll start with, let's see, who do we have here? Do we have someone here from the Board of Supervisors? I thought I saw Amanda Berry. Well, she's still logged in, but I don't see her. Amanda, if you reveal yourself, we will call on you. Otherwise, we'll go on to the mayor's office. I see Michaela here.
Good evening. Thank you, Jeff. Tiffany, I'll send kind of more in-depth report to Jeff so he can provide to you to integrate to the minutes, and I'll just kind of high level my report so it's a little quick.
Okay.
A fun item to announce is we have launched our Mayor for a Day contest, and that will be for K through 8 grade students. And so the application is open until December 13th. You can go to our website. So if you know any K through 8 students who are interested in public service, they can submit an essay or a video. The winner will be able to shadow the mayor for a day. Fun fact, the mayor, when he was 10 years old, was a runner-up for a Mayor for a Day contest. So this is something 32 years later we're bringing back. Also, the city of San Diego is hiring. Not sure if you've seen our public service announcements, some commercials. I know Mira Mesa loves libraries, parks and rec, and we're in desperate need of positions to be filled. The money is there to fill them, but we don't have the bodies and the staff, just like a lot of other industries that are struggling to hire staff. So if you can assist or know of anybody interested, that would be awesome. Lastly, the last 2 weeks, the mayor was able to go to Washington, D.C. and Glasgow, Scotland to participate in the Aspen Security Conference, as well as COP26, which is the United Nations Climate Change Conference. He was invited to speak in several panels to highlight City of San Diego's recently released Our Climate, Our Future initiative. And I will post more information on how you can participate in that initiative, the Climate Action Plan, Climate Resiliency. We have some upcoming forums and public comments that you can submit online, and the materials you can review just to learn a little bit more about it. And then that'll be it for me tonight.
Thank you, Michaela. We'll go on to Sheldon, and we'll go back to Amanda, who has revealed herself. Sheldon? You're muted.
Wagenheim, the joint use is fully approved and is getting signed now. Once this is signed, the city attorney will sign the construction contract, and we hope to start construction in December at the earliest. Salk, joint use agreement for Salk was heard at council this past Tuesday. Will be completed next month. The project is out to bid. And we expect it to be opening bids December 7th. A couple water bills that were incorrectly processed for the homeowners because the meters were incorrectly read. I got those changed by sending the bills to the Public Utilities Department. Received an email from Craig regarding missing trees along Calle Cristobal. He said those are the responsibility of the Calle Cristobal MAD. There was 3 trees that have been removed along Camino Santa Fe north of Top Gun. I'm trying to find out the MAD district, if it's Mira Mesa or Calle Cristobal MAD. I put out a call today, so I should find out tomorrow. Yeah, good luck on Craig's surgery if he's still around.
Yes.
Yep. Good luck for sure.
Thank you.
That's all I have for now. Any questions, or if I can answer some questions, please
There's
email me.
one from Tom Dare.
Sheldon, you had sent me an email about those trees that were missing from Craig. I have put in a request for John, oh God, I can't remember, Steffens, and he has not responded to me. He's not like Manny, who used to be his predecessor. Manny would reply almost immediately. John at his leisure. So I have to wait for a response from him to figure out who is responsible for those trees on that road. So you'll have to wait until tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, please send it to me. I'd appreciate it.
You got it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Amanda Berry.
Thanks for circling back to me. I got a phone call at the most inopportune moment. But good to see everyone again. Again, Amanda Berry, she, her, and I am with Supervisor Tara Lawson Raey in District 3 for the County of San Diego. And the main update that I want to give today is about the supervisor's action to help young people in San Diego County secure the green careers that will define not only their future, but the future of our entire region. I don't know if you all remember, but back in March, the supervisor passed a board letter with Supervisor Vargas. That's a proposal for a youth environmental and recreation corps that's going to help people across the county find paid jobs in the green economy. They'll receive training, develop their knowledge and skills, and gain work experience, and they'll be paid. So it's a program that's going to be in partnership with the San Diego Foundation and the San Diego Workforce Partnership. Interns are going to be placed within county departments like Public Works or Environmental Health and Quality, and they'll focus on sustainability. And the program is open to anybody in the community who's ages 16 to 24. They don't have a job and are not currently in school. So again, that's 16 to 24 who don't have a job and are not in school, or Opportunity Youth. And the application period is open. I will put the link in the chat. So if you know of anybody or know anybody who might know anybody, please encourage them to apply. The deadline is coming up here. It's this week. So I'll put it in the chat and happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Amanda? Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
We'll go on to Andrew Amorao, Citizens Redistrict Commission.
Great, thank you, Chair. Thank you, everyone, for having me here tonight. I'll try to make this quick. I know it's been a long meeting, so I'll go through my slides as quickly as possible. Is it possible, Chair, to share my screen?
Yes, you should be able to.
Okay, great, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Amorao. I'm the Southern California Field Team Lead for the California Citizens Redistricting Commission. I'm responsible for outreach for the San Diego region as well as the Inland Empire. So that includes the counties of San Diego County, Imperial County, San Bernardino, and Riverside counties. Just a reminder, per California Government Code Section 8253A3, commission members and staff may not communicate with or receive communications about redistricting matters from anyone outside of a public hearing. And also too, at the end of the presentation, I will only be answering questions, which I don't think I received any from the chair ahead of time about the statewide redistricting process. So I won't be able to answer any questions at the end of the presentation. So one of the greatest powers that the people of California have to elect the representatives in government to represent their needs. Districts are drawn or can really make the difference between empowering and maximizing voters' voices or minimizing and muting those voices. In most other states, politicians draw the lines. In the state of California, the state legislature was the one responsible for redrawing our lines. The California Citizens Redistricting Commission, or CRC as we like to call it, was formed to take back the power and have the people redraw the maps for Congress, state Senate, state Assembly, and the Board of Equalization. By fully participating in and monitoring the upcoming redistricting process, more communities may have the opportunity to elect candidates of their choice. Speaking up about your community is critical to help your community keep it whole to the extent possible. This also ensures your voice is heard by your elected leaders when making decisions as the quality and funding of, such as the quality and funding of your child's education, addressing transportation concerns, or determining your taxes. And so in 2008, as I alluded to, California's passed Proposition 11, the Voters First Act, authorizing the creation of the independent commission to draw new district lines, initially for the state Assembly, state Senate, and the Board of Equalization. And then in 2010, the Voters First Act of Congress added the responsibility of drawing the congressional districts. And just to give you an idea of all the different types of districts that are within our state, I understand too, I've been in contact with the County of San Diego and the City of San Diego. We've been trying to help support each other's efforts, especially when it comes to public input and comment. We try to really ensure, if we do receive any type of redistricting matters that may be under a different jurisdiction, we try to forward that information to the correct commission and vice versa. And so this is our line drawing criteria. So the first two is mandated by the US Constitution. So equal population is first and foremost. So districts must be of equal population to comply with the US Constitution. Number two is the Voting Rights Act. So districts must comply with the Voting Rights Act to ensure that minorities have an equal opportunity to elect representatives of their choice. For our particular commission, we have also chosen contiguity. So districts must be drawn so that all parts of the district are connected to each other. So meaning that you could walk from one end to the other end without crossing in another district. Number four, which I'll get to more later, is the communities of interest. So districts must minimize the division of cities, counties, neighborhoods like Mira Mesa, and communities of interest to the extent possible. Number five, districts must be geographically compact, such that nearby areas of population are not bypassed for more distant populations. This requirement refers to density, not necessarily shape. And then the nesting of districts, where practicable, each Senate district should be comprised of 2 complete and adjacent assembly districts. And Board of Equalization districts shall be comprised of 10 complete and adjacent state Senate districts. In addition to this criteria, the place of residence of any incumbent or political candidate may not be considered in the creation of a map, and districts may not be drawn for the purpose of favoring or discriminating against an incumbent political candidate or political party. So communities of interest. So I think I've heard a lot tonight about different communities of interest in your particular neighborhood. So that they can be, business owners, that could unite, or maybe that are from a particular maybe plaza or marketplace. They could be considered communities of interest. It could be also parents whose maybe children go to Mira Mesa High School and have similar values. They can be also considered communities of interest. For the purpose for this presentation, the California Constitution defines it as a concentrated population which shares common social and economic interests that should be included within a single district for the purposes of its effective and fair representation. So essentially, you know, any community that you may be a part of or that you identify with could be a community of interest. And so the California Commission offers 3 online tools. So the first one you may have seen already is the Draw My California Community tool. That's probably the most easiest tool that we have to use. Essentially, if you've used a Google map or Apple map before, it essentially functions in the same way. The only difference is that it does ask you questions about what your communities of interest are, who you feel like you should be grouped with. And then it allows you the opportunity to then select on a map that particular area and then submit that information to the commission. The second one is the Draw My California Districts. That was just released a couple months ago, shortly after the commission had received the 2020 census data from the state. That incorporates that data into this particular tool. So if community members are interested, they could draw out district boundaries. And then the third tool is the Draw My California plugin. It's a free to use tool for those interested in creating and manipulating shapefiles. And really the difference with us, because of the resources we are provided, is that we're able to provide assistance to community members 7 days a week. We also have tutorials. We have videos on how to use all these tools. You could chat with someone, you can email someone, you can call someone. So there's a variety of ways that community members can get assistance when using these tools. We're also fortunate enough to have one of the 6 redistricting access centers here in San Diego. It's located in Mission Valley. So you know, essentially it is a short drive in comparison to some of the other areas that I'm responsible for. They do have in-person appointments as well as virtual appointments. There's 2 appointments per hour, but they do have computers there. They have a person there who's from statewide database. They are the creators of the online tools. They're based out of UC Berkeley. And so they're there to provide community members with assistance, helping them facilitate their public input and then making sure it gets submitted then to the commission. And right now you may have heard that the commission had released the draft maps last week. And so they are very interested in hearing your feedback. I mean, obviously I'm presenting to this group because you are the experts in your particular community. And so the commission could really use your help in really understanding what the communities of interest are, but then where those particular boundaries are. So we have the draft maps already on our website. So I encourage you all to visit our website, take a look at the draft maps. And then if you have any type of feedback you would like to provide to the commission, there's an online form where you can then provide your feedback. Just to give you an idea too, the commission is having a series of draft map input sessions. So these are the dates, November 17th through the 23rd. The 24th, actually, the day right before Thanksgiving is the last day community members can provide input to the commission about the draft maps. And so certainly if you're interested in participating in a live meeting, as of today, there was no appointment slots available, but the commission was able to open up some more, which will happen at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So if you are interested in participating in one of these sessions, please sign up at 8 a.m. because these appointments do go really quickly. And I should also note too, at the end of each of these sessions, even if you don't have an appointment, you can then also participate as well. You would just call in, essentially. And then we still have the other ways to provide input to the commission. You can certainly visit our website. You can email us. We still accept mail too. So we've gotten input from mail from flash drives of public testimony that was collected from an organization of videos. I mean, people have gotten really creative during this process. So we do accept a variety of different ways to provide your input, and then also to our draft map feedback form, which I had mentioned earlier, as well as the public input meetings that community members can participate in. And this is our current timeline right now. The draft maps were released, so community members have until the 24th of this month to provide input on those draft maps. But the day I would really flag is December 27th. December 27th is when the commission must submit to the Secretary of State the final maps. And something that this council could do is share our social media posts, the information that we provide. We have a lot of great videos. We got a lot of great information that we update daily. So please, if you're interested, subscribe, share our information, encourage other community members to participate. This is a once in a decade process. And hopefully we can do our best job to ensure that community members feel comfortable providing input to us, but we make this as easy and accessible as possible. And if you need anything, I'm your representative, for the commission here locally. I'm actually based out of here locally too. And so please, contact me if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you need additional information, give me a call, shoot me an email. And I'll post some information as well in chat too, but I'll also provide the slide deck to the chair. So thank you again so much for your time. And Chair, I think that's pretty much it for me.
Thank you, Andrew. I guess I hadn't perceived that any questions had to be sent in advance. There's no reason I can think of you shouldn't answer questions. Is that a requirement of yours or?
Yeah, that's a requirement of mine, but community members, if you have any questions, feel free to email me and then I can answer it through there.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any announcements tonight?
Yeah, Jeff.
I'm sorry, I did have my hand up for that last presentation. Should I just go ahead and do it at comments since no questions are being taken?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to encourage everybody who is here tonight to take a look at these maps. We took a look at the maps that were just released, and we've noticed two things of interest for Mira Mesa. One is that the Assembly District, the way they are drawn on the draft map, the area east of Camino Ruiz and north of Mira Mesa Boulevard is placed in a separate assembly district from the rest of the Mira Mesa community. And additionally, for the congressional district map, Mira Mesa south of Carroll Canyon Road and east of Black Mountain Road is placed in a separate congressional district, which seems very random since there is really no population base there. But those are two very interesting things that we found already in the draft map. So you may want to take a look and place your comments because it sounds like we've only got a few more days to be able to make our comments. And it's just would be interesting to know why little areas are being carved off in the congressional district with no population and why we are going to lose about a quarter of the highly populated residential area of Mira Mesa to another assembly district. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Yes, I would encourage people to look at these maps. You do find some surprising things. This one was on the statewide maps. In addition to that, there are two other committees working, one for the county and one for the city. The city is almost done, and that one's got a lot of publicity. The county could be a drastic redrawing of those maps that could even move us out of our current representatives district. So anyway, I would encourage everyone to look at all of those also. So, Tommy, you had your hand up?
I just wanted to make a remark or two about my campaign, if that was the appropriate time to do so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. San Diego County Planning Commissioner Tommy Howe, running for San Diego City Council in District 6. Many of you may recall I was the endorsed Democratic candidate for the seat in 2018. As an environmentalist, I've been an advocate for parks and open space, especially places like the Del Mar Mesa Preserve and also Mission Bay, which I've been advocating for through my work with Rewild Mission Bay and the Audubon Society the last couple of years. As we've seen with the city's redistricting process slowly coming to a close, our campaign's focus has been primarily on Mira Mesa throughout the process, restoring our infrastructure, rebuilding our roads. We heard about Gold Coast and Parkdale tonight. That was an excellent update. We've also got roads like Saluda and Pisces and Ambassador, although I was glad to see Jade Coast was sealed a couple of weeks ago. Port Royale, first time in like 30 years. But ensuring smart growth as we build and add housing into Carroll Canyon and consider densification of the Convoy plan of the Convoy district with that new Kearney Mesa community plan update. Response to the door has been very, very good. We've been reconnecting with a lot of neighbors. I've been endorsed by Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remer, former San Diego City Council member Marnie Emerald, many others. You can get the full list at TommyHowe.com. That's HOUGH. Our slogan is Neighborhoods First in the heart of San Diego. Tommy Howe for San Diego City Council in District 6. And if it's okay with you, Mr. Chair, I can put some information in the chat if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Are there any other announcements this evening?
Yeah, that's why my hand's up, Jeff.
Okay, Joe, go ahead.
I just want to alert everybody that west of Highway 15 on Mercy Road, we now have a new sign that says, "Welcome to Mira Mesa."
Great.
Thank you, Joe. Any other announcements? Okay, we'll go on to reports for CPC. A lot on the agenda about redistricting at that meeting. Also, we had the County Redistricting Commission, which shows what they were doing. They kind of started from scratch and just decided to drive brand new districts. So the results of that could be quite drastic. Again, I would encourage people to look at that and comment. We also had the same presentation we had here tonight from the California Citizens Redistricting Commission. Also a presentation on the Climate Resilient San Diego Plan. This is a number of proposals that are for adapting to the effects of climate change. The Climate Action Plan is for trying to mitigate our impact on it. This is how to mitigate the impacts of it on us. And then there was a presentation on trees, a presentation on the inadequacies of the city's urban forest policies, and a request for advocacy for trees from community planning groups. And there's a citywide group that's working on that. Hey, Pam, did you have something for Penasquitos Canyon?
Yeah, I'll just a quick report on Penasquitos Canyon Preserve Citizens Advisory Committee. We have not had a meeting since the last planning group meeting, but we do have a meeting coming up this coming Thursday, November 18th. Craig, are you here at the meeting still? I just see your name,
Yes.
not your face. Okay. Hate to spring it on you a couple days ahead, but as my alternate, would you be available to attend the meeting this Thursday?
I should be able to.
Perfect, because just for everybody else's information, a major agenda item this Thursday will be another presentation on that El Cuervo Phase 2 restoration project that Stormwater wants to do. It was discussed in May when Craig was there for me, discussed again in July when I was there, and briefly at the September meeting, and now in November there's going to be another presentation. So I think you're up to speed, Craig, and I appreciate you being able to go to the meeting.
No problem. Happy to help.
Thanks.
All right, before we adjourn, I'd just like to mention that today we had a celebration of life for Ted Bringle. Ted was the chair of this group for 10 years and even longer member of that. He was also president of the Mira Mesa Town Council for 10 years. So very few people have had the kind of impact on the community that that Ted did. So We'll miss him very much, but at least we gave him a good send off today. So are there any other items that I missed? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.